a mistake happens in a fight. Headbutts happen. I think he knows he's doing it. I mean, I'm not saying he's a bad person because of it, or I'm going to fault him for it. It works. I think he does it on purpose. It happens too much. Let's look at the facts. Every single fight, somebody gets headbutted. Every single fight. When have you seen Nick Campbell say, "No, I don't want to continue"? When have you seen him do that? Devin Alexander's never done that. Okay, I'm going by a pattern here. Okay, now, at first I used to think he's not doing it on purpose. It's just, he's small. Yeah. We could look at it in many ways, but it's a pattern. Every fight, every single fight, I honestly believe it's in the strategy, and he'll be a fool not to put in the strategy. Now, I'm not saying he purposely, comes in with a headbutt, like Jimmy Snuka. What I'm saying is, he uses it as a strategy. He uses it as a strategy to get in the way, to not let the fighters just box. He puts it out there, that big head of his. But he's leading with his head. Now, I know he has like an amateur style, but and then for the referee, what kind of professional referee are you when you can blatantly see he was headbutted? I'm like, how could you even rule that a punch? So I was disgusted from that. The headbutts really turned the fight towards the latter part when Alexander had a good rhythm. All the headbutts was coming when Alexander had a good rhythm going. Then here comes a headbutt. Is it fair to say that the headbutts just break your will? Well, yeah, because you probably had double vision. I mean, look where he had the swelling. I don't think it was the swelling from punches. He was taking the punches pretty well. Nobody can ever convince me that he didn't purposely put his head out there. I don't care what they say. Did. I'm glad you're with me. Me and you going to be battling side by side with everybody that's on Twitter telling me that that's not intentional. Oh, I got some guy on here. Did you see Holt? Holt was in Evan's corner looking at him like, yeah. I have that I told you, look. I told you. Yep. The headbutt. Yep. It's like every fight. When has Bradley ever cut somebody with a punch? Can somebody answer me that? I can't. I need to put that on here. And this guy's going to tell me on Twitter, oh, there was a clashing head, not an intentional. I'm like, I got to check the rule book and see if there's a difference. Now, I guess one of the main topics here is the headbutts. Yeah. So what's your stats on that, man, with the intentional, not intentional, just his style? It's the other fighter's fault. I mean, how do you see it?
It's just who he is. Timothy Bradley is he likes those type of fights, headbutts, forearms. I'm surprised nobody got tackled. I mean, that's just how he fights. Guys are known for certain things. Tyson, when he was on the inside, he would use his forearms. When Hopkins gets on the inside, he hits you in the hip. Bradley uses his head. I mean, that's just his style.
So he does do it on purpose.
I think when guys get low and they bend at the knees, right, and they come over the top with looping shots like that, Hopkins does that. He gets low. I don't think anyone intentionally headbutts somebody. You know why I don't think that? Because if you headbutt somebody, there's a good chance you could bust your own head open. Why would you put yourself in harm's way like that? You know what I'm saying? I just think
they have school where they teach you how to headbutt and how to use your head. Go to Evander Holyfield's gym in Atlanta. Oh, go to Holyfield's gym in Atlanta.
Bradley was actually cut too. I mean, he cuts himself. See, the thing is about him is he'll put himself in harm's way. That's the thing. He's like kamikaze fighter. He'll put himself in harm's way.
Of his head?
No, because it's different in football, though. In football, they got helmets on. In boxing, you don't have a helmet on, so it makes no sense to intentionally say, I'm going to headbutt this guy.
Here's the thing, though. I'm not saying – it's kind of like he does it, and it's one of those, like, either you get out of the way or you get punched, or I'm going to headbutt you. I mean, it's like those are your three options. You know, I mean, I understand, but I just think that it's in a strategy. I think to say that he doesn't know deep down that his head, that he's using it, he's utilizing the head. You know, he's using it.
But let me just say this. You're in you're in the ring with your trainer and you're working the pads and you're throwing combinations. Where do you practice the headbutt? I mean, it's not like your trainer says, okay, 1, 2, 3, now throw the headbutt. I mean, I don't understand how that's like a strategy. I just think that when he comes in, he just gets slow and he just comes in like that. I think when he's throwing that right hand, I think because he's looping it instead of just shooting it straight, I think he's bending down and he's getting low and he's putting his head down and then he's trying to just come over the top with that roundhouse like that. And I just think that's the way he throws that right hand.
I would accept that if this was only 2 fights, you know, or if it just happened in this fight. Or in
Holyfield does it every fight too.
Every
you know
fight.
Why?
Yeah.
Holyfield, you know what Holyfield does a lot? He bends down, right? Gets low, and then he dips down to his left, and then he tries to crank that left hook over the top. And when he does that, because he gets so low, when he's coming up and he's in the guy's chest, boom, his head's coming up while he's trying to throw that left hook and turn it over. And you're going to sometimes hit the guy in the head because that's what's going to happen. I mean, the heads are going to be there. The head's coming up, and the guy's leaning in too, so you know your heads are going to clash. I don't think that they're intentionally trying to headbutt the guys. I think it's just because of their style. They get low. They bend their knees.
Let me just make a point real quick.
Tonight. Go ahead.
I'll give you an example of a guy that did not have long arms, that got on the inside, shoulder to shoulder, and did not have a history of every single fight headbutting people in the head, and that's Julio Cesar Chavez.
Okay.
That's not an excuse. Every fight, every single fight is a headbutt.
Chavez did
multiple ones.
Chavez did not a lot of times dip down low and kind of swivel upward. He didn't bob up underneath shots and try to come over the top with shots. He would basically jab, and he didn't get real deep into the pocket. He was more of a mid-range type fighter. He wasn't an inside fighter. He was a mid-range type fighter. He didn't like to get deep in the pocket. Bradley likes to get deep in the pocket. Holyfield likes to get deep in the pocket. When you get deep in the pocket, Hopkins gets deep in the pocket. When you get real close and deep in the pocket like that, that's going to happen, man. It's just going to happen. There's no way of getting around it. You know, and you know what?
A lot of fighters do it, though.
I'm saying to you, it sucks. It sucks that you know, these cuts occur, these headbutts occur, and you have these types of stoppages. No one wants to see this, but you know what? It's just hard for me to say that these guys are intentionally going in and smashing their head up against another guy's face.
But here's the thing, though. Wouldn't it be clear? Would it not be clear after the fights, after 10 fights, in a row, that you're headbutting people, you're cutting them? Would it not be clear at that point? Oh yeah, I am headbutting people. So they are aware of it, and they do know that if they continue to do what they're doing, that they're going to keep headbutting people. So in my eyes, that's intentional.
Bradley's been throwing that right hand for like 13 years now, that same way. How's he all of a sudden going to try to teach himself to not throw the right hand like that?
Let's go on the round table here. A boxing socialist, what's your thoughts, man? If this was a jury, is Bradley guilty or not guilty of intentionally using his head?